You were supposed to be Dylan. That's right.
Hello.
Yo.
Sorry I'm late. I didn't sleep for 48 hours and then I just passed out.
Cringe. Hey, congratulations on coming out and on your university admission.
Thank you. When I came out as gay, they were like, fuck, now I have to let him in.
Gotta get that woke idpol stuff, you know?
Hell yeah.
Speaking of woke idpol, I hear that a group of dastardly SJWs at the White House are trying to rewrite history by acknowledging the Armenian genocide. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, they should have just accepted last year's statement from Erdogan when he said it was a shared pain. They should have just accepted that. Obviously, Turkish people and all the people of Turkey shared an equal amount of pain during those events, obviously.
You know what's really funny?
Mm-hmm.
You know how conservatives are always deflecting off America's sins by pointing out that other parts of the world are worse on most progressive issues?
Yeah.
I'm not saying the deflection is valid, but oh my god, it feels like they're right sometimes. I took a look at some of the, Turkish discourse on the Armenian genocide, and they're full on, it didn't happen, but I wish it did. Fuck those Armenians. Oh my god, you know, and the Japanese too. It feels like are we in the upper quartile of genocide acceptance in this country? Is the rest of the world somehow worse than we are? That's incredible.
Some nations, when it comes to stuff like this, most certainly Turkey would be one of those nations when it comes to this. Obviously, when it comes to the United States, there's certain we can look at media around Native Americans when it comes to oh, everything was wonderful, media or Song of the South, that type of stuff, which indoctrinated us to look at historical events in the United States with a more smiley face. And a lot of that similar stuff occurs in Turkey when it comes to the rule of the Ottoman Empire and the rule shortly after the Ottomans collapsed that led to stuff like the fallout.
Yeah, that's true. If we officially recognize the genocide of the natives, there would probably be a bunch of rednecks replying to Biden's tweet.
We see a few Steven Crowder videos, he instead of a cop coming out to put his leg on his neck in a really soft fashion to make it look completely like some pussy shit. Instead, it would be this guy's about to hand me a blanket. Nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah, it'd be. See, all right, guys, here we are. We got my Asian lawyer here with me, and we're gonna test this smallpox blanket thing. So, hand me a blanket. Cough on it. Yeah, hang it. Yeah, okay. Look at that. I'm fine. Yeah, there we go.
Exactly.
Didn't even happen.
No millions dead. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, this is actually a really big thing. Obama actually didn't do it. Trump specifically didn't do it even after a bill passed the House and Senate to basically declare this as a genocide, and that was to keep good relations with Turkey. Similarly, you would expect his pullout from northeastern Syria was similarly in that vein. So Biden is the first president to take this big step of recognition of the Armenian people's pain during the events of the Armenian genocide, where estimated 600,000 to 1.5 million Armenians were slaughtered.
Yeah, it's a pretty big number. I was, I guess, interested knowing a little bit more about this because from an American perspective, the Armenian genocide, it's we're not really taught it. It's not really relevant to our history, and nobody really cares. But not in the Americans don't care about the Armenian sense. It's just more. It's not an issue. It would be like being taught about a genocide in 14th century China. You know, it's not even an issue that we're made to give any political position on it. But apparently, some people care about it quite a bit.
So yeah, basically, it was during World War I, right? And the way the Turkish government kind of throws it is some rebellious Armenians worked with the Russian enemies to destroy the Ottoman Empire, but brave Ottomans went into Anatolia. They went into the highlands. We won't call it the Armenian highlands. We don't want to disgrace the highlands, and destroyed the evil rebels and still lost, but they fought bravely. That's the Turkish perspective. What really happened is, yes, there was a Russian invasion in the area. The amount of, alliance with the Russian government is a lot of times overestimated, even though, of course, with the oppression that the Armenians face, there were some people that welcomed the invading army, some probably who participated, but not nearly to the estimates that the Ottoman government like pushes. In fact, a lot of people estimate that it was the Ottoman government's brutality that pushed the few who did into the arms of the Russian government. And then they basically took part in a slaughter campaign where 600,000 to 1.5 million died between 1915 and 1917. And here's a famous quote, which I think a lot of people, and I see this a lot from an American perspective in the comments, like, wow, Biden's doing this instead of, I don't know, getting my car insurance policy, like some random issue, right? Like,
well, it feels like a fairly
this?
snap judgment to make here. You know, I understand that prior to this point, the Armenian genocide has been broadly referred to by previous presidents as like an atrocity or like a bad thing, but they've
Obama
stayed
used
away.
the Armenian term to use it, which like called it the Great Calamity.
They've stayed away from the
Yeah.
term genocide because I imagine that recognizing the existence of a genocide has broader political implications that Turkey did not want, so the Americans have been respectful of that relationship.
It really pisses off Turkish ultranationalists. And in Turkey, if you've ever looked at a comment section under anything about Erdogan, there is a lot of Turkish ultranationalists. I remember, I mean, like, breaking news, 20,000 people on Twitter spamming the Turkish flag has repealed Joe Biden's declaration of genocide. If you ever look at like the comment section about anything bad Turkey's ever done, you'll see a bunch of people saying Turkey's strong. It could even, I remember there was this very famous post where somebody like talked about a Turkish airstrike killing Syrian children, and someone under it, of course, being like, Turkey's strong, good airstrike. Like no matter what it is, there'll just be somebody in there to barrel in to like wave the Turkish flag, you know? Just, I mean, Joe Biden, after announcing this, made a tweet about like, it is funny, but also like really sad when like somebody like is trying to describe a tragedy that like Kurdish people have faced or something like that, and the reaction they get is "fuck you, cockroach, Turkey strong."
Well,
right?
no, it's funny because the racism seems so quaint. So this is the way I think of it, okay? I'm so used to the types of racism we see here in America. We all know how our racial dynamics function. And over in Europe, they're a little dissimilar. Obviously, they have stronger opinions on Romani people. They have stronger opinions, I think, on Muslims at the moment, broadly, or at least refugee Muslims. But they're similar, you know? But then there are parts of the world where they have racial opinions that are so different from ours. They have all these ethnic and nationalistic conflicts. And it's funny because I have to chuckle and remember that, like, to your average dumbfuck American, they're just all brown people. It's like it's like, oh, cute, they're fighting amongst themselves too. It really is like an infinite fractal, you know? Because if you sent an average American tourist over there, they'd look at a Turkish person and, you know, an Armenian person and just like chuckle while like sipping from a beer can, like, all right, whatever. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You know, go for it. Okay, you crazy kids. Like it's like, oh God. And then, but sometimes the way they carry, and it's so serious, you know what I mean? All these little countries compared to us.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess from I mean, not a lot of Americans understand foreign policy. So, like, from an ignorant American's perspective, that's just the world. Like, it's like the Hank Hill scene. Chinese or Japanese, right? Like Americans like don't understand the deep complexities of these like ethnic or cultural conflicts that go back generations. And when it comes to like the Ottoman Empire or Turkey and Erdogan and his struggle with the Kurds and the Kurdish struggle for independence and statehood, or Armenia's current struggle with Azerbaijan, and of course its historical struggle with Turkey broadly when it comes to issues like this. Yeah, Americans don't understand these conflicts. They just see them all kind of as foreigners. I think a lot of it you can point to the ignorance around after 9/11 on how Americans were just ready to gobble up the idea that agents of Saddam Hussein met with people in Prague of the Al-Qaeda government. Yep, Saddam Hussein were invading. What? 9/11. Even though it had nothing to do with 9/11. But officials in the Bush administration.
Well, I'm not speaking positively of your average American's familiarity with foreign policy. I only mean,
Well, of course.
in a way, it's kind of humbling that it seems like every community, every group of nations and ethnicities on Earth all seem to be, at least in some way or another, absolutely committed to some exclusionary worldview, and theirs differ from ours. And all of our differences may even seem relatively, you know, meaningless in their
Well,
eyes
I
too.
think a
So
good way to look at it is the way we
the
see
big
all like
universe.
the way we see a lot of like other nations like racism and bigotry, and we're like, that's the stupidest shit on the planet, is the same way that they probably view our racism and bigotry. And I think it's a good way to like look from the outside in. It's the same way I suggest people look at rioting. If anybody ever looks at like rioting in Hong Kong or rioting in Lebanon, the people in America's first thing is like, hell yeah, they have the right to riot. Their government has completely failed them. There's a lack of democracy in Hong Kong and Lebanon, that corrupt system. Oh, have you seen what Hezbollah's done with its own standing arm? And like everybody's for it. Then you look at America and it's like, everyone needs to calm down. Everyone needs to stop, not understanding that you need to deal with the issues if you actually want to stop this
Yeah,
rioting.
we do
Wagging your
the
finger
exact
is
same
never
thing
stopping
too.
it.
Because there are Americans who will be like, huh, Japan won't even officially recognize the rape of Nanjing? Okay, sure. All right, Japan, have fun. And then they're like, no, we didn't genocide the natives.
1619 project.
Yeah, exactly. And meanwhile, in Turkey, they're probably like, yes, of course, America should pay reparations to, you know, people of color. They have mistreated. And then, no, there was no genocide of the Syrians. So, like, I don't know. It's just, it's really dumb. It's soy faces all around, isn't it?
Here's a quote that I want to throw out there. And it was a week before the Hitler invaded Poland. He said, "Who, after all, speaks today of the annihilation of the Armenians?" So when people talk about like the importance of declarations like this and historical remembrance of what happened, the first thing before any healing can really begin is recognition that an event occurred. That's before people can start to heal, start to take any policy recommendations that could possibly be in to heal this. And at this point, I don't know what policy recommendations could be done. I don't see the Turkish government in any point in the near future paying anyone reparations for what occurred in 1915 to 1917.
Yeah, every time I learn something about Turkey, I feel like they're turning the cringe factor up quite a bit. I mean,
yeah, Erdogan is particularly terrible.
Yeah, with Rojava as well, with them like immediately taking the opportunity to start firing shells south, across their border, and muscle in, and then we have the genocide thing, and then as I understand it, Turkey has been fairly cruel to the many refugees they took in, or at least they haven't given.
And they use them as a bargaining chip while debating with Europe all the time.
Because they want to get in on the EU, right? Like fully.
They want to get in. They basically they use it as like a, hey, if you don't like what we're doing, you know, we're holding all these refugees. Maybe we'll just stop doing that. And it's like basically taking advantage of like a lot of the like refugee scare that's in Europe to kind of use it as a bargaining chip.
Yeah, because if they just stopped accepting refugees, or at least if they had, I doubt the trickle in is quite as much as it used to be, but they were threatening essentially to flood Western Europe with refugees, wasn't that?
Yeah, they do that every once in a while during some negotiations. They also famously used Syrian, and this is the thing that actually was when I said this was denied by Turkish nationalists. Not only did they use Syrian jihadis and like send them over to Libya, they did the same thing during the Armenia and Azerbaijan conflict. And even in the last weeks of the conflict, when I was saying this is happening, we have evidence, I would have people in my chat denying it until I had to give them like, here's like mainstream sources, here's pictures, here's lists of names, here's people in Syria next to pictures of them here over here in Azerbaijan. I felt like I was having to do a deep dive investigation to prove this was going on.
Now that's a gamer moment right there. Sit in your computer chair, turn on the lights, boot up stream, and supply 30 minutes of proof as to the existence of the Armenian genocide to Turkish nationals in your audience.
It's fun. The thing is about this particular like event is you'll find that no matter how deep your community you think is progressive or wonderful or lovely, when it comes to historical events like this, everybody in your chat, when you're going on one historical event, everybody will be in agreement except for a certain subsect of people from said country. And this is 100% true in this, where you'll say this stuff, and I'm sure you'll see it in Hassan's community, you'll see it in your community, even see it sometimes in my community, where you'll say like, yeah, this was a genocide. There'll be like 20 people who raise their hand and say, actually.
No, it's not.
Exactly. You talk about American crimes, they 100% switch around. Japan's crimes, 100% switch around. China's 100% switch around. But then you touch their country, never mind.
Yeah, there are Americans in my community who don't even believe white genocide is happening.
Jesus Christ.
What was that old meme? It was like
you know what? Xander Hall looked his best when he said white rights.
There was that I don't was that shit post from 4chan, that green text where it was like, my dad is like fuck guys, what was it? My dad is like a hardcore like it was some African country like genocide denialist or something. He's never even been there, but if you disagree, he calls you a Tutsi liar or something like that. Rwandan genocide. Yeah. People just I don't know. Maybe it's just people really like denying genocide. We're just super hyped on it.
I think the thing is, back in the day, this was still bad, but I think with the creation of the modern internet, you can basically, if you want to, craft your own narrative or story about any historical event ever if you go into enough Facebook groups.
Yeah.
I mean, really, like they'll just tell you whatever they want or give up. Like, well, if you look at the little pieces of string off the side of the American flag, then you can see that Biden obviously didn't win. Like this, I mean, even stuff as clear cut as elections is now up for internet debate.
I think a lot of people feel very coerced or very cajoled by the existence of historically accepted narratives. This is a really common trend I've noticed with Nazis. It's that they keep saying, you're made to feel guilty for slavery. Or I guess even regular conservatives do this. Like, white people are being taught to feel guilty for slavery. I have never in my life, not once, been taught in all the progressive communities that I've been a part of to feel guilty for slavery, which makes me think they do, because they essentialize race, because they think that a person is their race and a race is made of its people, that they are responsible for slavery and they don't want to be held accountable for it. They assume everyone else thinks that way, so they project the guilt outward.
What it is the racists have extremely low self-esteem. They've got nothing else to identify with because they haven't accomplished anything significant in their lives. So they look to the past and try to find somebody else who they didn't contribute to any of their accomplishments to feel proud of, so they can feel better about their lives, which they've done nothing but like go through 4chan forums on. That's the truth about the matter, really.
Yeah. It's really wild. You know, when I see Turkey in popular culture, not politics, it seems like a pretty cool place. Or at least they produce a lot of really cool stuff.
Oh yeah, Turkish people are like amazing. I mean, like they have an extremely beautiful culture, extremely rich history, amazing architecture. I mean, the food's also great. There's a million amazing things about Turkey. This is just really, really bad thing about Turkey.
Yeah. So what do you think the geopolitical consequences are going to be of Biden's decision?
So Biden, and this is one of the reasons why I think people should have supported him, is he was going to hold Turkey to account. We all knew this a lot more than than Trump was. Trump famously pulled out of northeastern Syria after multiple phone calls with Erdogan to zero strategic, humanitarian, or any benefit to the United States whatsoever, which led to a humanitarian catastrophe as the Syrian war expanded, and Syrian and Kurdish politicians were dragged out of cars and executed by Turkish-backed militias. Hospitals were bombed. And a lot of former ISIS fighters were actually in these militias that were sent south. If you look at the Rojava Information Center's information on this, they have full lists of names and pictures of these individuals.
How did that work? Were they captured and deployed as like war slaves, or were they rehabilitated? What the fuck happened there?
They left ISIS, was like, give me gun. They gave him gun. It was like, okay, get back out there. Now you're not ISIS. Now you're this group. This actually happens a lot, but the thing is, the ISIS should have been like the one group that everyone's like, no, not these people. But you know what? Hey, they're a welcoming equality group. You know, they're all for the jihadi equality over there.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I'm glad they're getting along, Turkey and ISIS, on that matter especially.
Hey, just look at the oil deals. But wait, okay, now let's not go down a rabbit hole. But there's a million things wrong that happened with that invasion. Then, of course, you could look at Turkey's recent involvement with the Armenia-Azerbaijan conflict, which Biden did not look upon positively as well. And of course, this is a big thing, which a lot of people don't talk for, which is the S-400 program, which is basically Turkey buying certain weapons systems from Russia,
Mhm.
which Americans do not, the American government does not like because Russia is a geopolitical foe. And the idea of us giving them our certain military equipment from us while they're buying military equipment from the Russians in certain ways does not make America happy.
Mhm.
And so that's a big thing. I think I'm not a big weapons expert, but somebody has explained to me like tech security implications, but basically that's a big issue as well.
Hmm. Okay. Well, at the end of the day, this is probably a good thing. I mean, well, it's definitely a good thing,
Of
but
course.
even geopolitically, it's probably going to have a very minimal effect on long-term antagonism, I imagine, because it's not like Turkey can much do anything about it, and it feels like if we're going to have a friendship with that country, it probably shouldn't be
Yeah.
predicated on lying about their, you know, genocide committal status.
Of course. And for people who, there's a lot of people, surprisingly, who are like, why in the world would we need to do this? This is of no importance. Just help lower my gas costs. Think of it this way. Apply this to any other genocide in common memory. Let's go with the most common one, the Holocaust. Imagine telling a Jewish American who doesn't like the fact that their own government doesn't recognize the Holocaust, something that took 80% of their family members away, that they don't want to recognize it because they didn't want to hurt ties with Germany. That would be a huge insult to not even recognize a historical fact. And recognizing these historical facts are important to make sure these events don't happen again. And with the current conflict between Azerbaijan and Armenia, where the Azerbaijan military committed, not to say the Armenian hasn't as well, but committed tons of war crime, executing the elderly, like the video footage that has come out of that is completely disgusting. It's hard to think that none of those war crimes were at all committed because of certain bigotry and biases that were ignored due to genocide denial.
Yeah, can't really deny that. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, um, I'm glad that it got recognized at least, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is like this should be an open and political implications, but this was the good thing. This is the correct thing to do.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on to talk about it. There's probably not much nuance. I mean, there's an infinite amount of nuance with
F
regards to the history of the situation, but in
F
terms of the complexity of this situation,
F
F?
stream stream crash.
Oh, it'll be back soon.
Gotcha.
Streamlabs has been an absolute bitch lately.
Yeah, yeah, it's not been great.
Yeah. Wait, has it not been great for you either?
Yeah, I've had problems with it
Yeah,
crashing.
there was a recent update that's caused a ton of problems that I have to like adjust for before every stream now.
Oof. So let me ask you a question. I'm actually interested. Have you seen any Armenian genocide denial in your chat as of recent?
Not in my community. No.
I mean, that's a positive. Congratulations.
Yeah, I guess I've done something to make myself unappealing to Turks beforehand, so maybe it's
The Turks generally, or
yeah, I don't know.
specifically
It's something I
genocide
said
denying Turks?
maybe. Maybe it was
Is
my
there any
critical.
Turkish fans in chat? Any Turkish fans?
Oh, I saw a couple of them complaining that we were presenting a USA-centric perspective on this issue, which is no doubt the case, but that's going to be any perspective I give on this, of course.
Hey, there's a Turkish fan right there.
Yeah, I'll probably learn more about this in the future. Maybe a research stream. I want to do research streams for, like, geopolitical blocks, see what the conflicts are, that sort of thing.
Awesome. Yeah, if you ever need any help with that, you can always ping me, man.
Absolutely. You take care, and thank you for coming on.
You take care. Can I shout myself out quick?
Yeah, of course.
Awesome. You can find me twitch.tv/Normal America, also known as Rob Noor, where you get your conservative-based opinions. And yeah, that's where you can find all me. Normal America, Rob Noor, twitch.tv/Lecture Fan. And to get all your based opinions, twitch.tv/John Burke as well. Wonderful. It's actually, if you actually care, it's Dylan Burns TV. That's DYLANBURNS TV on Twitch, DYLANBURNS TV on YouTube. And if you actually care about follow me on Twitter, that's Dylan Burns 1776. And now that I'm gay, if you don't follow, it's actually homophobic.
True.
And Vaush, you don't have a lot of homophobes in your chat, do you?
I mean, they probably would have left a while ago, given all the aggressive homosexuality I engage in, so I would hope not.
Oh, I got one last question. I'm debating somebody who debated you tomorrow.
Ooh.
1 second. Let me find him. Ronnie Cameron. He was some white nationalist who called into your show for like an hour and 10 minutes, and then uploaded some videos about it on Odyssey afterwards.
Ronnie.
He called you like a grifter afterwards, or
wait.
something.
I remember this guy's Twitter photo. This has to be one of the recent.
He
ones,
looks like
right?
he looks like an egg with sunglasses.
Yeah. This has to be one of the recent ones, right? Because I
Yeah, it
remember this
must be.
fairly recently.
Yep.
Oh wait, here we go. I'm being posted here. Yeah.
Yep. He's going to be debating me on homosexuality because I came out as gay.
On whether or not you exist, or
Whether or not I am harmful.
I believe in you.
Thank you. I mean, I'm harmful, just not in that way. Just with my evil arms dealing.
I pray you're harmful to him.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. Do you have a question?
I don't remember. They were
Gotcha. Bigotry towards the white nationalists.
Yeah, right.
See you later. See you later.
See.